Admiral Zektar stood before the massive holographic display, his 6 eyes studying the star map with growing frustration. For 3 cycles, the hegemony's greatest military minds had been tracking one target. Not a rebel fleet. Not a rogue world. One human. "Show me the damage reports again," he commanded, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had conquered 17 star systems. The tactical officer's scales rippled with nervous energy as data streams filled the air around them. "Admiral, in the past month alone, battlecruiser domination completely destroyed. The heavy destroyer Fang of Worlds found drifting with all crew dead. Carrier Group 7 vanished entirely in the Kresh Nebula. Zektar's primary arms clenched into fists. Each ship represented millions of credits and thousands of lives. The human called Marcus Cole had become more than a fugitive. He was becoming a symbol of something the hegemony could not allow to exist: defiance. "Tell me about this human again," Zektar demanded. "Former maintenance engineer aboard mining station Epsilon 7. Lost his family when we acquired the station for the greater good of the hegemony. No military training in our databases. No significant education beyond basic technical skills." The officer paused. "Admiral, by all measurements, he should have been dead within days of going rogue. Instead, Marcus Cole had stolen an outdated mining hauler and disappeared into the void. That was 6 months ago. Since then, 43 hegemony ships had been lost trying to capture him. The High Command was no longer asking questions, they were demanding results. "Perhaps," suggested Sub-Admiral Yorvan, his voice cautious, "we should consider negotiation. The cost in ships and lives." "Negotiation?" Zektar's voice rose to a roar that silenced the bridge. "We are the hegemony. We do not negotiate with primitives. We do not show weakness to creatures that should be grateful we allow them to exist." The truth was darker than pride. Marcus Cole had to die because of what his survival meant. For 1,000 years, the hegemony had built its empire on a simple truth: resistance was futile. Every species they encountered eventually bowed, or was destroyed. Humans had seemed no different when first contact was made 50 years ago. But humans were different. They didn't break the way other species broke. Even under occupation, even with their leaders dead and their cities burning, small groups of humans kept fighting. They used improvised weapons, turned everyday tools into instruments of war, and refused to accept that their situation was hopeless. Marcus Cole was that refusal made manifest. Every day he remained free. Every ship he destroyed or evaded sent the same message to every human in hegemony space: "You can fight back. Ready the fleet," Zektar commanded. All 500 ships. The bridge fell silent. 500 ships was a force capable of sterilizing planets. It was overkill on a scale that bordered on insanity. "Admiral," Yorvan ventured carefully, "surely, such overwhelming force isn't necessary for one human." Zektar turned all 6 eyes on his subordinate. "One human has cost us 43 ships. One human has made the High Command question my competence. One human has turned our military doctrine into a joke whispered in dark corners across the galaxy." His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "I will not return to the homeworld in disgrace because I underestimated the threat." The preparations took 3 days. 500 of the hegemony's finest warships gathered in the void of the crater system. Dreadnoughts whose main guns could crack moons, carriers bristling with fighter squadrons, destroyers built for speed and killing power. The combined firepower could have conquered most civilizations. Intelligence had finally tracked Cole to the abandoned Zirion mining complex in the Outer Reach. The facility had been stripped and left to drift years ago, its resources exhausted. Long-range sensors showed only one ship present, the same stolen hauler Cole had been using since his escape. "He's trapped," the intelligence officer reported, with barely contained excitement. "The complex is surrounded by an asteroid field too dense for faster-than-light travel. Only 3 routes in or out, and we'll have them all covered." Zektar allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Finally, the hunt would end. The human would die, and the galaxy would remember that the hegemony's power was absolute. "Begin the operation," he ordered. "I want a live capture if possible. The propaganda value of a broken human will serve us well." The fleet moved through space like a metal storm, 500 ships in perfect formation. Each captain knew their role. Each weapon was primed and ready. They were the apex predators of the galaxy, and their prey was trapped in a metal cage with nowhere to run. As they approached the mining complex, Zektar watched the tactical display with growing confidence. The human ship remained motionless, apparently powered down. Perhaps Cole had finally accepted the inevitable. Sensor sweep complete. Admiral, the tactical officer reported. Single vessel confirmed. No signs of additional ships or defensive systems. Perfect. The human was alone, isolated, and helpless. Exactly where Zektar wanted him. Signal the fleet, Zektar commanded. Begin the final approach. Today, the galaxy learns that defying the hegemony has consequences. The 500 ships moved forward, their sensors locked onto their target. Behind them, space seemed to hold its breath. Ahead, in the shadow of dead asteroids and empty metal corridors, something waited that would change everything the hegemony thought it knew about war. Marcus Cole had been busy during his 6 months of running. Very busy indeed. The first sign something was wrong came when the lead destroyer, Piercing Talon, simply vanished from sensors. Communication lost with Piercing Talon, the communications officer reported, her voice tight with confusion. They were conducting the forward sweep when the tactical display flickered. Where moments before a green dot had marked the destroyer's position, there was nothing. Debris field detected, sensors announced. Massive energy signatures consistent with catastrophic hull breach. Admiral Zektar felt his confidence waver for the first time. How? We detected no weapons fire, no energy buildup. What could destroy a destroyer without warning? Before anyone could answer, the second destroyer, Silent Death, reported contact. Target acquired. Mining hauler is moving, attempting to flee through Passage 7. All ships, converge on Passage 7, Zektar commanded. Do not let him escape. 50 ships moved to block the passage while the rest of the fleet closed in. The mining hauler was slow, lumbering, no match for military vessels. This should be simple. It wasn't. The hauler's engines suddenly flared with impossible brightness. The ship accelerated far beyond what its specifications should have allowed, weaving between asteroids with precision that defied explanation. Weapons fire from a dozen ships missed their target as if the pilot could see the future. How is a mining hauler outrunning our fastest ships? Yorvan demanded. The answer came in the form of another vanishing vessel. The cruiser Eternal Spite had been moving to intercept when its engines exploded simultaneously. Not destroyed by weapon fire, the engines simply detonated as if someone had triggered their self-destruct. Admiral, the chief engineer called out, his voice shaking. I'm reading impossible energy readings from that hauler. It's putting out more power than a battle cruiser. But our sensors say it's still the same mining ship. Zektar's mind raced. Something was very wrong. The human wasn't running randomly, he was leading them somewhere. Every turn, every acceleration, seemed designed to pull more ships into specific positions. Pull back the forward elements, he ordered. Regroup and Carrier Group 3 went silent. All 7 ships, including the massive carrier Swarm Mother, simply stopped responding. Long-range scans showed them drifting, intact but lifeless. Send a boarding party to, Zektar began. Admiral, the tactical officer's voice cracked with panic. Battle Squadron 5 is reporting system failures across the board. Weapons offline, shields down, life support fluctuating. The pattern was becoming clear. Ships weren't being destroyed by conventional weapons. They were being systematically disabled by something that could reach across space and shut down their most vital systems. It's impossible, Yorvan whispered. No single ship has that kind of capability. Not even our dreadnoughts could. The lights on the bridge flickered. For a moment, every officer froze. Then emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. The main holographic display sputtered and died before struggling back to life. What just happened? Zektar roared. Unknown energy pulse hit the entire fleet, engineering reported. All ships reporting minor system failures. Nothing critical, but... The engineer's voice trailed off as understanding dawned. Admiral, that was a warning. On the main display, the mining hauler had stopped running. It hung motionless in space, surrounded by 200 hegemony ships. But somehow, the hunters had become the hunted. Open a channel, came a voice over the communications array. It was human, speaking accented but clear hegemony standard. This is Marcus Cole. I believe you're looking for me. The bridge fell silent. After 6 months of chasing shadows and finding wreckage, they were finally hearing from their target. This is Admiral Zektar of the Hegemony 4th Fleet, Zektar replied, his voice carefully controlled. You will surrender immediately, or be destroyed. Laughter echoed through the speakers, not the bitter laugh of a cornered animal, but genuine amusement. Admiral, you've lost nearly 100 ships in the last hour, and I haven't fired a single weapon. Are you sure you understand who's in danger here? Impossible. Our ships are the finest in the galaxy. Your ships, Marcus replied, are built with technology you stole from conquered worlds, including human technology. Did you really think we wouldn't build in some back doors? The truth hit Zektar like a physical blow. 50 years ago, when the hegemony had conquered humanity, they had absorbed human industrial capacity, human engineering knowledge, human manufacturing techniques. Every ship in his fleet contained components built with human expertise. You see, Admiral, you made a fundamental error, Marcus continued, his voice now cold as void. You thought conquering us meant controlling us, but humans don't work that way. We adapt, we learn, and we always plan for revenge. Another energy pulse rippled through the fleet. This time, it was stronger. A dozen ships reported critical system failures. The massive dreadnought Worldbreaker started listing as its stabilizers failed. What I'm about to show you, Marcus said, is the result of 6 months of very careful preparation. 6 months of visits to automated shipyards, supply depots, and maintenance stations. 6 months of planting very specific modifications in very specific systems. The mining complex around them began to move. What had appeared to be dead asteroid mining platforms revealed themselves as massive weapon batteries. The asteroid field itself started shifting, revealing hidden ships, human ships, built in secret over decades of occupation. You wanted to hunt a single human, Marcus Cole said as the trap closed around them. Congratulations, Admiral. You found him. The hegemony's greatest fleet suddenly realized they were sitting in the middle of the largest ambush in galactic history, and their target had been hunting them all along. Admiral Zektar watched his perfect formation dissolve into chaos as hidden human ships emerged from every direction. These weren't stolen vessels or converted miners, they were purpose-built warships, sleek and deadly, equipped with weapons that defied hegemony understanding. Emergency jump, he screamed. All ships, emergency jump now. Jump drive's not responding, Admiral. Navigation reported. Something is interfering with our faster-than-light systems. On the main display, Marcus Cole's mining hauler was transforming. Armor plates slid away to reveal weapon ports and advanced sensor arrays. What had appeared to be a simple cargo ship was actually something far more dangerous. You know what I was, before your people killed my family, Admiral. Marcus's voice carried across the fleet channels with deadly calm. I was a maintenance engineer. Do you know what that means in human terms? It means I know how everything works. Every bolt, every circuit, every weakness in every system your empire has ever built. The truth was worse than Zektar had imagined. For 50 years, humans had been forced to maintain hegemony equipment. They had learned every technical specification, every design flaw, every vulnerability in the Empire's military machine. And they had been planning. The hegemony makes slaves of conquered species, Marcus continued. But you made a critical error with humanity. You didn't just enslave our bodies, you forced us to maintain your war machine. Every human engineer, every technician, every maintenance worker has been waiting for this moment. Human ships opened fire with weapons that seemed to bend physics. Energy beams that curved around shields, projectiles that phased through armor, mines that appeared from nothing to cripple entire squadrons. The hegemony fleet, built for overwhelming conventional force, found themselves fighting an enemy that had rewritten the rules of warfare. This is impossible, Yorvan shouted as another wave of system failures swept through their ship. Where did they get this technology? Marcus answered as if he could hear them. We didn't steal your technology, Admiral. We improved it. Every human forced to work in your factories, your shipyards, your research stations. We've been collecting knowledge, sharing discoveries, preparing for the day we could strike back. The mining complex revealed its true nature as defensive platforms unfolded like metal flowers. Each structure was a weapon capable of destroying capital ships, and they were all manned by humans who had spent decades learning to hate the hegemony. You see, we learned something about ourselves during your occupation, Marcus said as human fighters swarmed through the asteroid field like angry insects. Humans don't break the way other species break. We adapt, we endure, and we always find a way to turn your own weapons against you. Admiral Zektar realized with growing horror that his entire fleet was trapped in a carefully constructed killing ground. Every passage blocked, every route of escape sealed. The humans had been planning this for 50 years. Please, he found himself saying, though the word felt foreign in his mouth. We can negotiate. We can reach an understanding. Negotiation? Marcus's laugh held no warmth. Admiral, you told my species that resistance was futile. You taught us that mercy was weakness. You showed us that the strong take what they want from the weak. The communication paused. Today, we show you that we learned those lessons very well. The systematic destruction continued. Hegemony ships died not in glorious battle but through calculated elimination. Their weapons failed at crucial moments. Their shields collapsed without warning. Their engines overloaded as hidden programs activated throughout their systems. How many? Zektar whispered, watching ship after ship go dark. How many what, Admiral? Marcus asked, somehow hearing him. How many humans are involved in this? All of them, came the simple reply. Every human in hegemony space has been working toward this day. The janitor who cleaned your command centers planted listening devices. The cook who prepared your meals gathered intelligence. The engineer who repaired your ships installed kill switches. For 50 years, Admiral, humanity has been at war with you. You just didn't notice. The final phase began as the last functional hegemony ships found themselves surrounded by a fleet that shouldn't exist. Hundreds of human vessels, built in secret shipyards hidden in asteroid fields and dead systems. The resistance hadn't been random acts of defiance, it had been a coordinated military campaign spanning half a century. The hegemony will send more fleets, Zektar said desperately. You cannot fight the entire empire. We're not going to fight the empire, Admiral, Marcus replied. We're going to do what you did to us. Every hegemony ship carries human technology. Every base uses systems we designed. Every weapon platform runs on protocols we wrote. The communication became coldly formal. In exactly 1 hour, every piece of human technology in hegemony space will receive a single command. Stop working. The magnitude of the trap became clear. This wasn't just an ambush of one fleet, it was the trigger for a galaxy-wide uprising. Across hegemony space, millions of humans who had been forced to build and maintain the Empire's infrastructure were about to flip a switch and watch it all collapse. You wanted to hunt a single human, Marcus said as the last hegemony ship's weapons went silent. Instead, you found 5 billion of them. And they've been hunting you for 50 years. The final transmission from the Fourth Fleet was Admiral Zektar's voice, broken and defeated. The humans. They were never conquered. They were just waiting. Within hours, the hegemony's military network collapsed as human-built systems shut down simultaneously. Supply lines failed. Communication arrays went dark. Entire star systems found themselves cut off as the infrastructure they depended on simply stopped functioning. The empire that had seemed invincible for 1,000 years crumbled in a single day, brought down not by superior firepower but by the patient fury of a species that had never truly surrendered. Marcus Cole sat in his command chair, watching the wreckage of the hegemony's pride drift among the asteroids. Around him, his bridge crew, all humans, all former slaves, all now free, worked with quiet efficiency. Signal the fleet, he ordered. Phase 1 complete. Begin liberation operations. The hunt was over. The war for freedom was just beginning. And humanity had just announced to the galaxy that they were very, very good at both.